Hey, 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 Angie Rae here with Girl That's Toxic. We got some toxicity to talk about. Y'all know who Jemele Hill is, former ESPN sportscaster, journalist, podcaster. Well, whew, all right. Jemele has had a podcast called Jemele Hill is Unbothered on Spotify exclusively since 2019. We remember she was with ESPN and there was some drama and she left. She got herself a nice little deal for her network, the Unbothered Network. Well, the other day on Twitter, I believe it was, there was some chatter about her and the fact that she expressed that a black person like herself should make $100 million like Joe Rogan is, and that Spotify said, no, we don't agree. We're not continuing our relationship with you. So this is what was out there. And pretty quickly, and let me give you a picture to show you who we're talking about here. In case you don't know, this is Miss Jemele. Hold on. Here she is. This is Jemele Hill. And there she is with her Spotify podcast, Unbothered. Her contract runs out this summer. And once this negative news came out, she came forth to clarify. And she said, my show has not been canceled, because that's what this article is saying. Show's not been canceled. She talked about a list of guests they were going to have, including one of the guests is Idris Elba's wife, Sabrina Elba. And she made it clear that this is a lie. It is a lie. When I first read it, I was just like blown away. Like, what? I mean, Joe Rogan gets the money that Joe Rogan gets because he has large numbers of viewers who watch him and who've been listening to his podcast. So what Jemele Hill basically said is that it would be great to see a black person make that kind of money at Spotify. She wasn't saying herself. It would be great if there was a great podcaster who could make that kind of money who was a person of color. But right now, there's one person, a white guy, who's making that kind of money and having that kind of impact on Spotify. So the rest of us, and I've been on Spotify too, bless my heart, it's just a totally different deal. And Jemele Hill has got plenty of people who watch her, who follow her. And I just wanted to point out a couple of things. First of all, I went to look for the source. What's the source behind what I found on Twitter? And I kept looking and I kept digging because she came out and said this is a lie. And because when I first read it, it just sounded false. So sure enough, the periodical, that's in bunny quotes, that wrote this is, let me take you over here. Right here. Can you see where I'm pointing at? The GatewayPundit. Look what it says. The GatewayPundit is an American far-right fake news website. Ding, 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 ding. Be careful what you're reading. Be careful and make sure of the source. Also, Outkick carried it as well. This is a product of Fox News. So both very conservative, one of them admitting that it's fake news, but it's fake news from the perspective of a conservative. So this is a bunch of crap. It's toxic. When you're a public figure, you have to put up with this kind of stuff, and it's just unacceptable. Now, this happened, and a couple of days later, because I was going to do an episode, and I just waited. A couple of days later, this is what I hear. Spotify is laying off 200 staffers in the podcast division. 200 staffers in the podcast division while they go through a strategic realignment. And these 200 staffers who now have lost their jobs, it represents 2% of Spotify's worldwide workforce. But it was all within the podcast arena. So let's not forget, that Barack and Michelle Obama, they had a podcast on Spotify, their Higher Grounds, and they left Spotify. And if I'm not mistaken, they are now on Apple. So I don't know if people of color are leaving. I don't know. But what I want to point out is that when you are on Twitter, when you're on any of these social media sites, be very careful about what you are reading, how you're reading it. Go deeper. If something doesn't seem right to you or it seems too slanted, go deeper and find a reputable source. If you cannot find a reputable source, then view this with your eyebrow lifted. Is my eyebrow lifted? Okay. So anyway, that's kind of it for this segment. I just wanted to talk about Ms. Hill and what is actually going on, and really a broader conversation about just being careful when you are on social media about what you are putting your faith and confidence in, because there's a lot of stuff out there that is just false. And when you are a public figure, people will say all kinds of stuff about you. And it's unfortunate, but that is the way it is. So Jemele Hill, good luck to you, whether you remain at Spotify or any place else. Appreciate you, and we'll see you all very soon.